Hello, welcome back to Greg Sterlace's special How to Emotionally Satisfy a Woman talk. Greg Sterlace has myself, Jill, and James here. We are also going to speak to Richard, and hopefully our tech superstar, Tom, will join in. Greg, hello.
Hi, how are you, Joe? Thanks for doing this. You're an angel.
So are you.
I'm an angel also? Wow. Is James an angel?
Of course.
James, do you feel angelic?
Well,
Sounded more like the devil.
I have that reputation from certain redheads, or should I say, Hinnerensis.
Oh.
So how do you think the women are going to react to a female president? Won't that be nice for them, James? What do you feel their feelings will be?
Well, apparently that's more of an emotional thing, so it's, yay, go ahead, girl, and hopeful. Oh, well, there's the accountability thing, so yeah. They're going to support it, but anybody who says anything about, well, check the record is just going to get shouted down.
Are you going to vote for her?
No.
You're going to vote for Don?
I'm going to vote for Kennedy.
Wow. Isn't that kind of like throwing your vote away?
Not if more
Kinda
than
like
20% of people did it.
But they're not going to, are they?
Well, they thought that of Ross Perot.
Yes, and also 8 years ago, a lot of people voted for Bernie. Look what happened.
Again, if enough people finally decide to break free from the illusion that they have no other choices, that is when change will occur.
Is it an illusion or is it reality that we have no other choices?
It's an
It
illusion
is-
because if everyone voted for Kennedy and didn't vote for the other two candidates, he would win.
The illusion is you have a choice.
The illusion is that your choice matters.
That's very profound.
Well, do you think, James, that a woman is good enough to run the country and be the president, even though she's female? How do you feel about that?
I think you're posing that question very provocatively.
Exactly.
The problem is not female. The problem is the person. And I would like to think, and I could be wrong, that if the average person were given the task of hiring a female president in the same way that an HR department does a headhunting search for the next CEO of Hewlett Packard, I don't think that Kamala Harris or who's the chick from Wasilla?
Wasilla? I don't know.
Nancy?
No, the Alaskan who was
Oh,
Sarah
started with a
Palin?
P.
Palin. Yes, Sarah Palin. I don't think Sarah Palin or Kamala Harris would be in the top 10 of their CEO search.
Presidential search.
Yes.
So
you-
you don't think she's qualified at all?
No.
But what about her experience as the vice president, being in the White House area for 4 years underneath Biden? Don't they give her some experience in being up in the top level of government?
Where they hid her for 4 years?
Well, but she was still involved in the White House a little bit. She was the vice president. She wasn't exactly on the outside looking in. She was an insider being a vice president.
She was more of a no-show vice president than Dan Quayle.
So it's not that she's female that you're not into her, just because you don't think she's qualified.
Correct.
Do you think she's smart enough?
He already said no.
No. Did you say she's not smart enough? I know she's not qualified enough. Because I'm just saying, because Don was president when he had no experience in politics at all, right?
Probably couldn't even pass an AP U.S. history class.
Right,
Or
and he was
US
the
government.
president with no political experience at all. So if she has some political experience, you'll give me that, right? And so she could be, and if she was president, is she smart enough?
Well, since we're talking about president, I'll have to give her that she's smart enough to be president.
Well, there you go. Then she's smart enough to be president, but you're saying she's not qualified enough to be president, but she's smart enough to be president. So that means she could be president because she's smart enough.
Well, let's be real. If you picked a random name out of the phone book, you can find somebody who is capable of doing the job as it exists today. But would that be the person that you would want to have the job? Probably not.
That reminds me of a Steve Martin movie,
What's
The
Steve
Jerk.
So, have you been thinking about this subject matter day and night, how to emotionally satisfy a woman, and whether it can be done, and whether it's feasible? You've been thinking about that all the time, 24/7, 365, James?
No, because I've already told you that, in my opinion, it is technically impossible outside of something that is counted by seconds. Maybe minutes if you're lucky.
What about the relationship, my lovely wife and I have, where it's so perfect and I'm emotionally satisfying her all the time? Isn't that an example of how it can be done?
In between when she wants to bop you on the head, yes.
Do you feel like my wife wants to bop me on the head?
She says she wants to bop you on the head.
Or maybe she means that like in an endearing, friendly bopping on the head way,
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember her saying anything
They're
about...
so cute together.
Yeah, we're cute together, James.
They've evolved. They've both grown since they've been together.
So you don't think you could ever find true love with a woman where she's emotionally satisfied 100% by you? It's impossible.
Women are never satisfied 100%. They're always looking for a better deal.
Jill, is that true? Do you think women are always looking for a better deal?
Some, maybe.
Yeah, not all. See, aren't you...
Hey. Not all, not all, not all, not all.
Just
50.001% at least.
so it's just a majority. That leaves the rest of women are able to be emotionally satisfied. They're not looking for more. They can be emotionally satisfied. Especially a man like you. If they had a man like you in their life, because you're so...
He would rather collect trophy girlfriends.
I disagree. See, the problem is at least 50.001% of women would find a relationship with me boring because there wouldn't be enough conflict for them to sink their teeth into. We don't have the soap opera existence.
So you're really smooth and calm, and there's no tension, and that's what you're saying. If you were with a woman, there'd be no fights, no arguments, no tension, no.
Well, there
soap
will
opera.
be because she wants to have that excitement. She'll be frustrated by my insistence to not.
Can't you just have
engage.
that in bed?
Can't you just have that wild time in bed, and the rest of the time be smooth sailing?
You don't think you could ever just satisfy a woman by just being there for her and
Yeah, there for
Well,
her.
you'd have to
Jane.
be-
You have
you'd
to
have to
find
find one that
exactly.
you'd
You have
stay
to find
with
that
for more than
no,
a year.
No. You have to find that woman who is willing to accept the relative boredom of a successful relationship.
Wow, but I mean that's not everybody though. That's just.
I never said it's everybody. I said at least 50.001%. Guys like me are spending their time looking under rocks to try to find that woman who is actually happy with a, quote, boring, successful relationship.
I want to read your Tinder profile.
I'd have to have one.
No Tinder profile?
No Tinder profile.
Looking for that bored,
Do you do-
bored, beautiful woman that will just give up with me.
Just give up.
That's what you're saying.
Wow. See,
what it sounds like.
She sounds
I
like she's
would
one of
want
those
to
women.
probe that statement.
Yeah.
Just give up. Having a successful
Calm relationship
Is just
giving
giving
up. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Well, he's saying bored.
I
But
said
he wants to
at
find a
least
board.
Successful.
I said at least 50.001% of women find a successful relationship without sniping, tension, and you're sleeping with my sister. They find that boring.
Well, if you're sleeping with her sister, there's a reason to have tension.
Yes. And I know a particular set of people where one guy managed to sleep his way through 4 out of 5 sisters. He is married to one of those sisters today.
But I mean, you said successful relationship with a woman, and Jill, you said giving up. That doesn't. That's
Well,
not.
no, he said he wanted a woman that would just give, give
I
up.
didn't
and-
say give up. I
Or-
said
You never
who
said
would
give up.
Yes, I said who would
You said
accept
successful.
a successful relationship that doesn't have that kind of tension.
Soap operatic.
Right.
I-
And that's not giving up, Jill. That's just
That's actually success.
that's successful and calm.
But see, this is the point. At least 50.001% of women find that to be
boring.
and settling for less because they want to have that.
Have you met my husband?
No.
He's in
What?
the other room.
Why? Does he say things like I just said?
Well,
Well, no, I'm just wondering, like, never mind.
tension is not everything. I mean, you can just have a beautiful time. You've never been able to find.
I agree.
Well, I think since it's only 50% that are like that.
I said
mean,
at least. It could be 77.
It could be 99.
Exactly. That's my point.
Where are you getting that figure from? That percentage figure?
It is at least 50.001%, which makes it a simple majority.
Yeah, it could be up to 99.9%.
It could be.
He's finding that from the Library of Things. That's
Well-
where the statistics.
Well,
come
here's
from.
what we know.
You're probably close.
Here's what we know.
Wow, she's gave in to you there. You're probably close, James. Wow.
Yes, but I'm saying
Wow, Jill, you're admitting the truth.
we don't have periodicals,
No.
proving
Here's
this
what
in
we
studies.
do know. According to many research agencies, including the CDC, 80% of relationships, whether they are relationships or marriages, ended by the woman. If a woman is college educated, she files for divorce 90% of the time. So that folds into at least 50.001%.
That's probably because those of us who have college degrees know how to go through stupid paperwork to get what they want. Some people did not go to
strangely-
college because of the paperwork.
But strangely, they don't know how to fix their relationship or are not willing to do the work to fix their relationship.
Hey, Tom, can you shoot the phone number up on the screen?
What do you mean the phone number?
We used to have phone calls, people calling in.
Yeah, we used to. Those days are over with.
I would love for women to come in, you just call up and ask James questions about relationships.
Well, you're right here to ask any question you want. That's the whole point. Is you.
Well,
But then
talking
she has to be
about somebody-
accountable for the question.
I'm talking about people who are looking for a relationship.
Well, I
Like
mean,
what advice? Okay, let's say I'm a single woman and I find you attractive. What would I need to do
Which you are.
to get your attention?
Yeah, James. What would it be to get your attention?
What does a woman need to what gets your attention?
Yeah, what gets your attention, James?
Overall, peacefulness, cooperation, and a sunny outlook.
Do you start with the looks when you first meet a woman? Thinking about how great she looks or how bad she looks? Is that the first thing before you get to the sunny disposition and the peacefulness?
No, and I know you don't believe that.
Wow, that is very high level of you.
If I showed you a gallery of the women that I have married or had long-term relationships with, you would find that there's quite a variance.
So you're not like the regular superficial male that, where they judge women's by their appearance.
You don't want
at
just the
first.
red M&Ms. You'll take everybody.
No, he looks for peaceful and calm and loving and
Yeah,
caring.
I'm talking about every.
Guys
every
will go
flavor.
down in looks in order to go up in cooperation.
Okay.
So you go right to the cooperation and the peacefulness you're hoping. When you say
I'm much more interested in peaceful cooperation and a good attitude.
so, unlike most men, you're not superficial. You actually care about their personality, number one, not their looks.
Oh, that's much more important.
Wow.
In
That is-
fact,
that is so high level of you. It's very progressive.
there are more people that don't realize that something that they did or said early on is what disqualified them. And it didn't matter how good looking they were.
Like, what kind of thing could a woman do that would disqualify them from your selection committee, your selection process?
Something either unnecessarily argumentative or uncooperative.
Right. You want. No, you wouldn't say docile, though, right?
Define docile.
Yes.
Well, giving in to you, letting you make the decisions, letting you have, agreeing with everything you say, not causing any problems, any rifts, any arguments.
Okay, you're posing the question in a way that I can't answer. So allow me to reframe the concept. I don't want someone who's going to argue with me for the sake of arguing. For instance, I had a relationship with someone who, if I said, we're going to eat dinner at restaurant X, she would say, oh, I got no say in that? And then I would say, okay, where do you want to go? Oh, I don't know. Where do you want to go? Well, I just said something. Okay, fine. How about what I just said? No. Okay. How about restaurant B? No. C? No. Well, then make a decision yourself since you keep shooting down everything I say. This is just tension for the sake of, I have a say in this. Well, you're not saying anything except no.
Yeah, that's a turnoff.
Very much so.
Wow.
So you have a daughter, don't you?
I have several adopted daughters, yes.
Okay, so what is the age range?
Well, today they're all adults, so I think
In their 20s?
the youngest is 27.
Okay. Now
What-
here's the question.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give to them about dating and who to choose or who not to choose?
Yeah,
Interestingly enough, that is quite a good question
it is.
because only one of them took my advice.
Is that successful? A good relationship?
Well, let me tell you what my advice was.
Okay.
Of course, we have these conversations while they're in high school. So I said to them, don't date any guy who won't help you with your homework. What? That's square. No, there is a logic to this. If a guy asks you out on a date, tell him, I can't go on a date because I have this report, this test to study, whatever. Why don't you come over to my house and help me study for the test? And if the guy won't do that, don't date him, because that means he won't help you pay the mortgage either.
That's good advice.
That is.
That's smart, James.
Only one girl took that advice. And the interesting point is that her experience was she did not have a single date in high school until senior year, when a guy finally did what she asked.
He helped her with her homework.
Yeah,
Wow. And then she stay with him and go on from there?
they dated for about 3 or 4 months, at which time she decided he was boring. But
Well, Kamani's willing
Not enough fireworks. Yeah.
not enough fireworks.
It's because
Women find it-
he's willing to do homework instead of take her out for a good time.
Well, he was willing to take her out as well,
I'm
but
only teasing.
her sisters, on the other hand, thought that this was being a square, and they were doing things like sneaking guys up the side of the house to crawl through windows to spend time with them in their bedrooms without anyone knowing that there were guests in the house, and crying over how these guys used them like tissues and tossed them away. And the sister who took my advice was saying, well, that probably wouldn't have happened if you held out on the homework thing.
Well, but did you say that the daughter who did the homework thing, is she in a successful relationship now while the other two aren't?
Actually, she's with someone right now that she's been with for about 2.5 years.
And the other two girls, women, are their relationships unsuccessful?
Well, one sister is in an abusive relationship that she keeps in and out and in and out and calling the cops and whatever.
That sounds
Another-
unsuccessful.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Another sister, I don't know if she's divorced at this point, but her husband is in the military, and they've essentially been living apart for about 6 years. So if they're not legally divorced, they're not living together either. She has 3 children, and
Are they over 6?
yes.
That's good.
And the other girl has 2 children by 2 different guys and is single.
What's the best relationship you ever had? What was that like? Do you have a relationship that you miss now because it was the best one you ever had?
That would be a split decision because I have a favorite ex-girlfriend. We had a very good relationship. We talked about anything and everything. I can honestly say we've never had an argument because we were able to disagree with each other civilly, and it didn't matter if the conversation lasted for 2 hours. It never became uncivil, and we were capable of saying at the end of whatever, okay, we've reached a point where it's obvious that we're just going to have to agree to disagree and move on from here. Unfortunately, however, she has mental illness in her genes, in her family. Her father died in a mental institution, and she's probably headed that way right now herself. So,
It's very sad.
So she
Very
was your
much so.
favorite, but it didn't work out because of her psychiatric condition, psychological condition.
yeah, it was something that apparently deteriorates over age, and we got some good years in her 30s. And I would say that my second wife would also qualify for that, except
I
that
hope she's not watching this.
she can watch it. Because, see, here's the thing. I am actually one of her biggest advocates because I don't say, that crazy bitch. What I say is, I lost her to her doctor
Oh,
because her doctor started prescribing her a bunch of stuff that messed her up in the head and ruined the relationship that we had. Because what happens when you're taking all kinds of steroids and other mind-altering prescriptions, you lose who you are or were at that point, and the person that was replaced was not someone that you could reason with.
That's a drag.
Very much so.
What about, you're okay with interracial dating and marriage?
I'm fine with it all. In fact, my mother and I used to get into it because she would say, so you have a thing for white girls? And I would say, no, I have a thing for girls who like me.
So white women like you better than black women?
I would have to say at this point, yes. Back in the day, it was more a case of the way romantic situations between black people back then worked. I was not in a position to be, I don't even know how to put this. You know how the stereotype is the guy pulling the girl's pigtails, and
Yeah.
that means he likes you?
Yeah.
In the black community back then, it was the reverse of that. If the girl is insulting you and doing mean shit to you, it really means that she likes you and is challenging you to put her in her place. Well, I'm not dealing with that nonsense. So
No, you like peaceful.
I like peaceful. So I found out that most of the women that were doing stuff that was turning me off actually thought that they were flirting with me. These days, it's more a case that I like to say I'm not thug enough for them because they want a more thuggish kind of guy, and I can't understand why that would even be attractive.
That's true. I don't get that either. You think they'd want a kind gentleman?
Well, what I've come to find is that they want the most rabid pit bull who they can have on a leash. And they think that he's not going to hurt them. So as
Right.
long as they can be the one holding the rabid pit bull on the leash, then they feel really good about themselves.
So it's kind of like being in a cage with a tiger, right?
As long as it's your tiger.
Well, did you ever try to, in the old days, did you say to these women that were being jerky to you, but thinking they were flirting, did you say, hey, I don't like that, cut it out, that's not flirting in my book, that's not cool in my book?
Well, first of all, I didn't understand that that's what was happening. And
You're turning
secondly,
me up because that's really loud on my part now.
Oh, I'm turning up the wrong one.
Yeah, you turned up mine.
Now I'm hearing
Sorry,
thunder.
James, you
oh,
turned me
this
up
is
really loud.
yours.
Let me have, what color am I?
You're green.
Okay.
Sure.
Sorry, James, that really was
You got that
loud.
one?
Why is yellow up? Nobody has yellow.
You can turn it down.
Yellow should
It
be
doesn't
down.
matter. Sorry, James, go ahead.
So like I was saying, I didn't understand that that's what it was at the time.
Oh, you learn and realize in retrospect.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, even if it could have gotten past that, it wouldn't have really worked out because I was the kind of person who, even as a teenager, I looked at life as a, multi-decade kind of plan. And they're more about today and who cares about tomorrow. So we would never have worked out anyway.
Right, because they were just living for the moment and fun time, good times instead of planning.
Mm-hmm.
What about drugs? Do you believe in the Bill Cosby approach? I hope you say no on that.
That's a silly question, Greg.
So, is it a no?
First of all, one of my insistences is that people who are with me want to be with me, and I definitely would prefer that they participate in the activities that we're engaged in.
What does that mean?
Well, rather than having him drugging them up, and like Bill Cosby did,
I get it.
he wants a person who's really there.
You
and
want
there
someone
for
to have awareness.
awareness and be there for him in a sexual or relationship situation, right?
Correct.
We're trying to figure James's love life, sex life, marriage life out. His advice to women and his advice
And
to
daughters,
and his daughters, yeah,
his ex-wives.
his ex-wives, and who we're learning a lot about him. And are you doing dating apps or not doing dating apps?
Dating apps are such a waste of time.
You've tried them.
Well, everyone has tried it.
I haven't.
I haven't.
Richard, you tried dating apps?
You're in a relationship. Why would you
Richard
ever be
hasn't.
on a
Richard's
dating
not,
app?
Richard's not in a relationship. He never went on a
There's a
dating
lot
app.
of dating apps.
The
for
three of us,
people
none
in
of us went on a dating
relationships.
app.
Well, Ashley Madison aside.
I haven't tried that either.
You mean you're not looking to cheat on your husband? Wow.
So you tried to.
I wouldn't need an app for that.
Whoa.
This is the point.
But no, I wouldn't. Do.
Now,
I wouldn't do that, but I wouldn't.
You need an app if you did do it.
I
yeah.
would not need an app.
No. It's because women control relationships. Isn't that true, Jill? They control relationships. Go ahead and admit it right now. Women control heterosexual relationships. Yes or no?
Why don't you ask my husband?
I will ask, but I'm asking you now. Do women in general run the relationships?
Well, in your mind, they do.
What about in your mind? I'm asking about your mind. Of course, in my mind, they do.
Every relationship is different, just like a snowflake.
Really? James, do you think women run the relationships and heterosexual relationships it's run by women?
I would have to say that women have the key to sex, men have the key to relationships.
Wow, what does that mean? You have to extrapolate. I'd like to hear more of that.
Well, for instance, Jill is correct, or at least what you said to Jill is correct. If I could do Richard's thing of putting up a picture, I would put that one up right now.
What?
There's a
it's on
picture I
phone.
just showed.
But what are you saying? Women are in charge of sex and men are in charge of relationships? Is that what you said? Something
Right.
like that? What does that mean? They're in charge of sex.
If a woman wants to have sex, she will.
Right. And a guy can't automatically as much so, right?
Right.
Well, again, it depends on
Oh,
the
okay. So
guy.
here, I'll describe the cartoon to you, Jill. Okay.
Well, you have to read the caption.
I'm going to read the caption. How easy it is for a woman to get laid, right? And the woman's laying in bed, and she's got a flashlight, out, like a bat signal going out the window, and it says "dick," and it says. So, by sending out the dick signal,
Someone will show
that's
up.
how easy it is for her to get laid.
In reality,
Is that true, Jill?
if you had a female neighbor
Yeah.
who was, a very friendly neighbor
Very
and
friendly.
had a like Batman signal that said dick,
Yeah.
wouldn't you be a little concerned about diseases?
But this is just the a cartoon though, a comic. This is not real life. This is not a drama. Yeah, that's interesting. So okay, yeah, so they can just say, I want dick, and then they get dick. Is that what you're trying to say?
The point is, a woman can have sex whenever she wants to, assuming
Thanks for putting that up there, Jill. You're a great host. You're the hostess with the mostest.
I do my part.
That was genius. That was pure genius.
assuming she is willing to accept what's being offered. The problem that most women have is that they can't get what they want from the men they want it from. Men's problem is
They can't get
Well, they can't
what
get-
they want from the women that they want it from.
No, from the men that they want it. They can't get what they want from the men. What they want from the men that
women
they like, right?
can't get what they want from the men they want it from.
They can only get it from the men they don't want it from.
They have lots of offers from men that they're not interested in.
Lots. It's an avalanche.
It can be.
Yeah. And what do they want from the men that they want? What is this thing that they're looking for that they're not getting?
Everything.
So
100%
if
everything.
they go a step below, they'll be successful. But if they try a step
at
above,
least a step below.
If they try a step above,
Maybe
it's not
5
going
steps
to be
below.
Researchers have come up with a very interesting point.
from the Library of James.
I didn't do
From
this
James
study.
Walker, the 7th magazine.
I didn't do this study.
I subscribe to that.
I'm sorry I don't have bibliographies for these well-researched.
Well, were they
Points.
researched by peers? That's the important part in empirical studies.
The answer is yes, and the point is that the research gave, it first had men and women write down what would be their list of the perfect person. And then they flipped it and asked, if you got 80% of this in one person, would you have a relationship with that person? And the men said, 80%? Sure. And women said, oh, hell no, that's settling. I won't settle for less.
Wow.
And 80%, I mean, come on. Holding out for the last 20?
Yeah, that's kind of that's actually cutting off your nose to spite your face in a way. I mean, it's actually self-destructive to say 80% is not good enough for me.
Exactly, which
Well,
is why dating is in the situation it's in right now.
well, the thing is, if they got the dick light that they shine out the window, they can get the dick. But why didn't you say men were more in charge of relationships?
Because women aren't going to get married unless a man asks them to get married.
Oh, good point. Usually it's the man asking, almost always, right?
Yes.
But don't they hint around, or aren't they sometimes really forward and say, I want to get married, Johnny, I want to get married?
Some of them will actually ask you with a ring.
Yeah, so, but generally because, it's probably also because aren't men asking women out more than women are asking men out still? That too, not just a marriage thing, but asking out for a date. It's more on the men, right?
Yes, because women think they should just sit back and let it happen.
Let the avalanche happen.
Women are much more planning than that.
Well, what would you do?
How do they shoot their shot?
What do you mean shoot their shot?
Shoot their shot.
Say there's a guy that a woman wants. What does she do to end up getting a date and or relationship with that guy?
Yeah, what happens, Jill?
She probably introduces herself, talks to him.
Wow, that forward.
I'm
That sounds
sorry.
about right.
That's showing my age when you used to speak to people instead of texting. See, texting.
Yeah, that's very old-fashioned.
Rejection with texting is is
Well,
the thing of the day. Nobody wants a face-to-face.
You would have to have
If
an
you're under
avenue
30,
to
you
speak
don't
to
get
that person.
You don't get a face-to-face.
Richard, do you know that's changed? Do you know that changed? There's a lot of internet connections now instead of face-to-face. Oh, your ball's pretty close there, you know.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah, did you know that that's happening now? The younger generation are phone connections?
So in other words, the preference is for the written word over the spoken word.
The text word.
The text
Written.
word, which is
They-
spoken, yeah, or they might send, pictures
If you're under
rather
30,
rather than actually go out and
you
mingle.
text what's going to happen on that date. You know ahead of time.
I mean, you're you're internet positive, right? You like the internet, right?
I do.
So do you think that's a good development for people not to be in bars, not to be at parties mingling, but to use the phone instead?
I think when you read somebody's words, in that kind of communication,
Right.
you get to know them better than when you talk to them face to face.
But you can inflict your own feelings on the word. You can read the same text and think it's anger, happiness, sarcasm, or being sweet. The same words.
Mm-hmm. And then you can ask for clarification.
But when somebody says something to you, usually by their body language,
You can get more of a
And
feel for with
you-
the body
yes,
language
you
and,
don't-
and the facial expression.
you don't have to say, is this sarcasm? Is this true?
Plus, the thing is, we know that a lot of young men send dick pics and also say "What's up," rather than having an intelligent text conversation. Like words are great on text, but what a lot of young men just say "What's up" and here's my dick. So that's a known fact, correct, James?
Yes, there are lots of guys doing that.
See, that means that texting is not that great because you're not communicating anything except "What's up" and here's my pic.
Well,
here's my
the
anyone,
other-
anyone who responds to that, they know they're going to get laid.
Well, they just had to shine a dick light out the window for that. The dick signal.
The other thing, though, is that women in texting conversations are typically very lazy. They expect the guy to put all this effort in, write War and Peace, and their response will be, lol.
Because they wanted to charm them via text with their wit and or interesting text, right? They expect that.
It's my experience that they're just very lazy about the communication.
Are they lazy in person?
Well,
Do they
That's
expect the same? Do they expect the man to entertain them in person?
oh, they definitely expect the man to entertain them, both
Is that true, Joe?
textually and in person. But
That's
if
a
you're
burden
trying,
for the man, James.
it's not just a burden. It's
Shouldn't it be a joint effort?
well, this is the point. They're not actually fulfilling that part.
Could it be that you're not finding the right women because, where are you looking? Church basements, old bars at 3 o'clock in the
The
afternoon.
internet.
Yeah, where
Where
are you looking?
do
Where are you
peop-
finding these women?
Where do people meet today?
Internet.
Where else?
Bars.
Where else?
Parties.
Church.
Who has parties?
Okay, just bars and the internet.
I'm just asking a question.
Festivals.
I have okay, and
Work.
oh,
Work.
that's one way to
School.
get yourself in trouble. Meeting somebody at work.
So you don't think it's a
It
good idea? You
happens.
don't think it's a good idea anymore?
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that it's a good way to ruin your life.
Well,
Wow.
meeting somebody
Wow.
that just got out of a mental institution is a good way to ruin your life too.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, he was saying,
She wasn't in a mental institution. I said that her
oh,
father
you should,
died.
No, you said
in a,
she would be going into one.
I said she would
Sorry,
end up
I'm
there
sorry.
eventually.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as meeting her when she's in a mental institution.
Sorry.
I mean, I could just do what a lot of people do and meet somebody at rehab. I'd have to go to rehab. I'll have to lie to get into rehab.
So what way are you searching right now to find a new girlfriend? Or do you have one already have a girlfriend?
I guess the problem is I don't really see where there's like a viable way of doing that. My friends, generally speaking, are either committed to being single by choice, or they're married and don't really have single friends. And then there's the other thing where, because of my work, I'm not somebody who's just in one place all the time, and that becomes an issue in itself.
Yeah, because you're all over the country, right?
Yes, the travel schedule is kind of hellish.
So that cuts into. So you're not searching for a new woman in your life then, because of your.
I would be open to it. The problem is, what avenue would you take to make that happen?
Well, the internet, or bars, or parties, or maybe you can meet someone when you're doing electrolysis on them.
Yeah, back in the 90s,
Like
guys
they
used
might
to
have
say
a
they were
friend.
photographers and they wanted to shoot their pictures.
Hey, it worked.
Now that everybody has a camera, you can't go that route anymore.
No.
Well, I think it's good sexism to practice trying to emotionally satisfy a woman. I think that's good sexism. There's good sexism is underrated and not known that much about, but I think good sexism is the way to go. Yes, good sexism.
What does that mean, Greg? That sounds like a lot of word salad.
Well, you know how if someone is trying to manipulate, if a man is trying to manipulate a woman into into a relationship, then that's sexism, right? But if they're trying to please the woman completely and emotionally satisfy them 100% and make them happy, that's good sexism.
I know a lot of women who would say that that's still doing things for the wrong reasons.
Well, how could it be the wrong reason if you're trying to 100% emotionally fulfill them and make them happy? How could that be for the wrong reasons?
Because what are you getting out of it?
Well, you're getting the fact that you have a good relationship.
Aha! So the man's getting something out of it.
Well, both in a relationship where you're trying to emotionally fulfill your wife or girlfriend, aren't you? Isn't it? Yeah, you're trying to get something out of it too. You're trying to have an emotionally fulfilled wife or girlfriend who therefore is more
Will be
happy with you, and you have a good successful relationship. Yeah. So you're both getting something. If you emotionally satisfy a woman 100%, then yes, you're getting something out of it too. She's getting 100% emotional satisfaction, and you might be getting close to that in the relationship.
Wait a
so
second.
yeah,
Paula's not here.
right.
But are you saying like you give 100 and Paula only gives 80?
No, I'm saying in general, not for us. For us,
For you, it's 100, right?
100 right now. We even say that. And then
Okay.
people scoff at that and say, you can't be both at 100. But what I'm saying is we're both at 100 in terms of the relationship in 29 years of dealing with each other really intimately for 29 years.
Realistically speaking,
Yeah,
it's a day-by-day thing. There are days when you only have 20 to give.
right,
You have to have a partner who is willing to give the other 80 to make up the difference.
right.
The problem that we have today is there's a propaganda out there where many young ladies think that it's a bragging point to say, look at how much I get while giving nothing in return.
Wow, really? That's a thing with women now?
Many young
They
women,
say that explicitly?
they will.
I think you're
Wow.
hanging around the wrong women.
I never heard of that, James.
Now, this is not one of the things that I would say is 50.001%, but it's out there. And I am aghast that anyone would think that that kind of thing is a bragging point.
Yeah, so am I. I never heard of this before. This is a new development in the 21st century?
Definitely.
Wow. So is it because of social media? They're like, let the guy do everything, and I'll.
Well, you've heard of sororities.
What does sororities have to do with anything?
A lot of sorority girls were like that.
Oh, they're like, give me everything, and I won't give anything, and I'll just use you.
Well, they would brag if they had somebody taking care of them
And having
that
their
they were just using.
wrapped around their fingers.
These days, girls will record and post TikTok videos discussing their horrible behavior as if it is something to be proud of. Now, when you do this, you have to understand that the guy you're talking about is probably going to end up seeing this because you know the same people, and somebody's going to say, hey, look at this. So they don't even care that the guy finds out about it.
Yeah, that's a tough situation.
Which brings us to something that I find deliciously funny, that there's a new movement among men to post their own videos that they call the soft guy era. And all it is guys posting videos saying the exact same thing the women are saying,
Right.
gender reversed. So, for instance, there's a guy who said, if I call my wife or girlfriend and tell her that my stock went down $25,000 today, by 5 p.m., if she hasn't put that $25,000 back in my investment account, then she's just not the one for me. Now, as ridiculous as that sounds, there are women posting stuff like that on TikTok as if it makes sense.
It doesn't seem to make sense.
If it was my investment broker, I would switch. You have to be reasonable about some things.
But this is the whole point of the movement, that they are repeating the words that these women are putting out there, gender swapped, so that people will see that this is ridiculous. Because they don't,
See it until the switcheroo, yeah.
right, because there are women who are saying ridiculous shit like, if a guy wants to date me, he's going to have to pay for my babysitter, and for me to get my nails done, my hair done, he's going to buy me a new dress, and before you're done, you're talking about this guy giving her $500 up front before they even have the damn date. And
Where can
then,
I find these guys?
well, I don't know
I
that
could use some
anybody's.
extra money.
I don't know that anybody's
You're
actually
happy
doing
you're
this.
married already.
No, it said before you go on a date getting the money.
Well, then that wouldn't
Then
that
you
be,
can cancel
wouldn't
the
that just be
date.
extortion, Jill?
Isn't that what he's talking about?
Yeah, I guess in a way, but I mean, anyways. James, I'm wondering what your feelings are on pornography. Do you think that's a viable option rather than men having a girlfriend or a wife just going the pornography route?
If you can be satisfied with that.
All right, that's so. When men are satisfied with that, that's good then, right? As long as they're satisfied, everything's beautiful. It's not because a lot of times I hear that is objectifying and using women via video to please themselves.
But that's
And
just
they're-
monopoly of affection talking. Women really love to do this thing about monopoly of affection. If you're in a relationship, you can have no affection or pleasure that I don't give you. And anything that you get outside of me, well, that's called cheating. But stuff like pornography becomes a thing of, wait a minute, we have a union here, and you can't get any pleasure or affection that doesn't come directly from a woman that you are somehow sponsoring, which is why, strangely enough, OnlyFans seems to be fine,
So that's all right.
because you're paying for that
But I mean, it's pornography.
directly to the person.
If you're in a relationship and you use pornography, the male does, is that cheating?
Some people would say so.
What do you think?
So
James?
how
What
much
are your
does
feelings?
that video cost? Like when you're talking to them directly? How much?
They all set their own price.
Different
What's,
prices.
So you're-
what's the average price? Like
It
what-
varies a lot.
Yeah, it's too variable. For instance, first of all, to have access to even do that in the first place, you have to pay a monthly subscription fee.
Of what?
I think the average for OnlyFans is something silly like $20, but it can be as much as $400 a month. And then you have to pay for access to doing either a live video chat with the person, or buying access to a video that they've posted to their subscribers to have access to purchase separately.
So what is the quality of a $20 a month versus a $400 a month subscription?
Yeah, what do you get more out of? How do you get more out of that?
I mean,
It's-
where's
it
the
volume?
$380?
Is it
How are they
volume?
earning that?
Yeah, is it volume?
No, it can be who
Quality?
it could be who the person is, or could it just be a random girl who says, "Oh, the highest I can charge on this platform is $400 a month. I guess I'll try $400 a month."
That's what the market will bear.
Right. So, for instance, there are certain celebrities that are on OnlyFans.
Really?
And yeah,
What
it's
celebrities?
the thing.
Which ones?
Well, Ice Spice is one of them.
Really?
And basically, a lot of the hip hop female celebrities are on OnlyFans. And then, of course, there is the infamous Bella Thorne situation, which
What's that?
it's a story that goes into the way that the society does not hold women accountable for anything.
Wow, nothing.
Definitely, in this case, nothing. Bella Thorne was a minor Disney actress. When the pandemic came up, she, of course, couldn't get any work because everything was shut down.
Right.
So you go from making a few $100,000 a year to nothing. So she decided that she would take the plunge and go on OnlyFans. She marketed that this is my drop date for OnlyFans as if she was putting out a CD or something. And the hype of a known celebrity, as minor as she was, going on OnlyFans drummed up a lot of attention. So on her drop date at $20 per subscription, she garnered $1 million in one day, 24 hours,
Wow.
$20 at a time. That's
How much
pretty
would
good.
Camila
That's
charge?
great.
Pardon?
How much do you think our vice president would be able to charge?
I'm not
And is there
touching
one?
that. I am not touching
That's
that.
sexism, Joe.
But-
He's talking about. I'm just wondering.
Would
much
you
did-
ask Trump that question? No.
How much-
Oh yeah,
how much did-
I'd love to interview him. It would be so much fun to interview a presidential.
But let me
candidate.
finish this because the point is, okay, 24 hours, $1 million. Now, as I have said, OnlyFans also charges. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. They charge per instant message. So you can send out an instant message for $3.99. A person has to pay $3.99 to read the message that you sent them. So she sent out a universal message to all of her subscribers saying, I'm going to do a special package for $400. So they had to pay $3.99 to find out I can pay $400 for something else. She made another $1 million on the $3.99 of people chatting about this. And then she made a third $1 million of people paying $400 a piece to get the special package.
So what was she doing during this that the people were willing to keep on paying for more?
Well, again, this is when she first hit the site. So 24 hours, $1 million, just people buying the subscriptions.
For her to say hi, and that's it.
Well, that was the second day. $3.99 for her to say hi.
Oh,
And then $400 a piece, another $1 million. Oh, I want to be one of the people to get the special package. The problem is, she said the special package would come on Friday. OnlyFans had a structure where the company had a work week that ended on Friday. And everybody got paid on Friday for what people had signed for during the previous 6 days, 7 days, whatever. So the point is, she dropped on Sunday, $1 million on Sunday. Then the instant messages, $1 million on Monday. I have a special package coming up on Friday, $1 million on Tuesday. The way their business structure worked, that meant they had to pay Bella Thorne $3 million on Friday. But she didn't deliver the package. This is a problem because everybody pays on OnlyFans via credit card. And as a business person, you know people have 60 days to renege on a credit card purchase, especially of a service that has not been delivered. So now, OnlyFans, who used to just pay and eat the back charges, now has a problem. A potential $3 million tsunami of chargebacks, and the extra fees on top of that. So they had to cancel their years-long practice of paying on Friday without notice. And so every creator on OnlyFans was looking for their money on Friday and instead got an email saying, yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. There's this new rollout that we're doing that we've been planning for a while. And this has nothing to do with anybody in particular. Nobody say Bella Thorne. And we will now be holding money in the hole before we pay it. And any chargebacks that come on your content, we will be deducting those chargebacks for you. So you're going to have a 60-day window where you could actually have money taken back because she broke the system. And nobody is willing to say that she broke the system
Because would it be sexist comment?
because it would be holding her accountable.
Oh, right, holding her accountable, which women are never held accountable.
Exactly.
Ever. No women are held accountable?
I'm not going to say ever, but it's rare.
Rarely are women held accountable.
Right.
That must stick
People
in your,
under 30 don't want to be held accountable for anything.
I agree with that too, but
so it's
you
sticking in
know.
your craw that women are not held accountable.
it sticks in my craw that people who happen to be female are treated differently to the point where they can literally get away with murder, and everybody's okay with that. My problem with the Bella Thorne thing is that no one will even say what is patently obvious here.
Have you found it to be that way, Richard, that women are not held accountable for their actions in society?
I'm unfamiliar with this.
Yeah, I never heard of this
There are
before
women
either.
prisons and that.
Yeah, there's women's prisons.
So-
They're held accountable for because they're in prison.
I
A,
have
there
a
are
friend
fewer
that's
women in
Harvard.
prison, and B, they get shorter sentences if they get sentenced at all.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is really.
Then why are there all those women prison?
Again, there are fewer women in prison, and they get shorter sentences
Well-
if they get sentenced at all.
Could that be because men just are stupider?
they're more violent and more crime oriented.
Yes.
Correct.
Or they're not
I
smart
would-
enough to not get caught?
As a man, you don't have to get caught. You can get false accused, and you'll still go to jail because nobody cares about the truth.
But
Wow,
women
no
are
one cares about
false
the truth.
accused too.
Women
It's
can
not
do
just exclusive to men.
women can do stuff outright and get nothing for punishment. There was an instance of a woman in Michigan who ran a daycare center. Father came to pick up his child, and he's greeted with the daycare center owner saying to him, let me tell you what happened. But he hears his child crying beneath the floor. And so he runs to the basement door, goes down in the basement, where he finds his child hanging from a rafter in a noose. Luckily, the woman did not know how to tie a noose because she wasn't a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout. So the boy hung there without breaking his neck, and she did not lose her license. She did not go to jail.
Again, where have you been hanging out?
Well, that's another example, James. You got a couple of good examples there. But I think.
Don't you think she should have at least lost her daycare license?
She should have been thrown in jail.
I agree, but neither of those things happened.
So why? Because she had some sort of video thing online
No.
that people subscribe to?
No. This has nothing to do with OnlyFans.
Okay.
We were talking about the point, do women...
Okay, so
Is
we
there
all have to
250,000?
say goodbye.
Well, Richard's pointing out there's 250,000 women in U.S. prisons. So that's 250,000 women being held accountable.
250,000.
Yeah, being held accountable.
What's the...
Thank you, Richard.
Well, in order to really parse that, you'd have to say, how many women are in America? 250,000 are in jail. How many men are there
30
in America?
seconds.
How many of them are in jail?
Well, yeah,
Adios,
more men are.
amigos.
Well, she's saying that maybe because men are more violent, crime-oriented, and stupid, that's why there are more of them in jail than women.
Right.
Right, Jill?
Women are more manipulative.
all women are more manipulative. That plays into
And
James's
deep-
thoughts.
And they get a
Oh my
pass
God.
in the
And,
first
seconds,
and
Jill.
detail oriented.
6 seconds, Jill. 5 seconds.
Satisfy your loved one.